In a bid to reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported pharmaceutical products, the federal government and the European Union have signed the Made in Nigeria, Made for Health Pact. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who was represented in a message, says a nation's true wealth lies not only in its natural resources, but in the health and productivity of its people.
This administration has taken concrete steps to strengthen health governance, to strengthen and stimulate investment, and promote local manufacturing. These efforts speak to one belief, that a nation's true wealth lies not only in its natural resources, but in the well-being and productivity of its people.
Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, says a credit guarantee agency has been established to support local manufacturers.
We have created a Nigeria Credit Guarantee Agency because we recognize the need occasionally that some partnerships will require us providing some guarantees to our domestic players.
The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, represented at the event, notes that local production of health commodities is not merely an economic strategy.
It is a strategic health security priority by scaling up domestic manufacturing of medicines, diagnostics, vaccines, and other health technologies.
If we continue to leverage the existing political will and we continue to do the right partnerships, we will meet the target of that roadmap before halfway mark of the ambitious plan.
European Union Ambassador reaffirms the EU's commitment to helping Nigeria strengthen its pharmaceutical production.
But more than anything, we want to support the paradigm shift taking place in Nigeria and West Africa, moving from aid to peer-to-peer collaboration, from standalone projects, however important, to a dynamic investment strategy.
It also goes well beyond the fact that pharmaceutical products represent 15% of our Belgian exports.
The Vice President says the partnership between the federal government and the European Union reflects the power of collaboration and solution for regional challenges. Anthony Momodu, Arise News.
Well, for more on efforts to boost local production of pharmaceuticals and the Made in Nigeria healthcare products, we're now joined by Dr. Obi Adigwe. He's the Director General, National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development. He's joined by Dr. Dennis Broun, who is the Vice Chairman, CroMedics Advisory Board. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the news tonight. Let me begin with you, Dr. Adigwe, in the studio here. Dr. Broun is in our offsite studio, and I hope you can hear me. Well, I'll begin with Dr. Adigwe in the studio. This agreement, as I've just read out to our audience, is made in Nigeria, made for health. But realistically, what is this about? Is it just packaging or bottling of essential medicines and vaccines in Nigeria, or are we producing from scratch? What exactly is it?
So, two very big misconceptions were dispelled today in Abuja by this big announcement. The first is that Nigerians and the world of science are not learning from the lessons from the pandemic that hit us a few years ago. The second and a bigger myth is that Nigerians cannot produce vaccines. I would have you know that over 100 years ago, in 1913, 1914, when we had one of the biggest rinderpest outbreaks in this part of the world, which killed about 6 million herd of cattle, where the country that the world reached out to take care of producing vaccines to control that rinderpest outbreak was Nigeria. in a city I was born in, Jos, a few miles in Vom. That particular institute was set up, and that particular agency produced vaccines for several years and was consequential to making sure that rinderpest was eradicated. Fast forward a few more years in the early 90s when smallpox was also eradicated. The government facility in Lagos also played a major role. Granted that Nigeria fell off in the 90s and the early noughties, what we decided in this administration is that we must make Nigeria the center of local manufacturing, the center of world-class science, and the center of being able to use our own capacities to take care of our solutions. And so during the COVID pandemic, the Ministry of Health brought out a brilliant policy document. But as you know, sometimes these policy documents end up as beautifully bound documents on shelves. And we sat down with the European few of the countries under the European Union and said we must develop a strategy where we can have real partnerships, not just tokenist partnerships, real partnerships to grow together, to make sure that we can take this policy, implement it, and make sure that companies can begin to manufacture. I will have you know that that particular roadmap was launched a couple of years ago, January of last year, I think, so almost 2 years ago. And already from my field visits, there are 4 companies situated across Nigeria that are moving full steam ahead to leverage the roadmap and make sure that they can produce vaccines in Nigeria within the next 5 years. What this agreement says is that it's not just good enough that you manufacture the vaccines. Do you have the science? Do you have the training? Are there researchers that can work in the field to bring in new interventions to be manufactured in these companies? Lassa fever is originated from here. So why are we sitting back and waiting for the rest of the world to give us solutions to that? What this particular intervention is also telling you that we've seen other parts of the world where you spend millions of dollars producing vaccines, but because of misconceptions, because of scientific, the war on science, these vaccines are produced and people aren't using them. So we are the world leaders in ensuring that things like vaccines hesitancy are addressed even before the products come out. So the plan looks at the entire ecosystem, moving from the, what do you call it now, the original R&D all the way to manufacturing and into the community. And then looks also at things that would influence the value chain, things like political will. You can have the brightest scientists, and if your policymakers do not align with the interventions you're bringing on board, you will not be successful in ensuring that those interventions actually impact on people's lives.
Great, and this is exactly where I'd like to bring in Dr. Dennis Broun, who's the Vice Chairman, Chromedics Advisory Board. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. In that report, you were reeling out, the level of support that you'll be providing for this project. I'd like you to, give us more in terms of details of how you're going to be supporting the Nigerian government and, of course, Nigeria's pharmaceutical sector, to really, truly go local, made in Nigeria, made for health partnership in Abuja, and also the importance of public financing to, boost Nigeria's pharmaceutical sector. How important is that?
Well, that is essential. We are looking at developing this capacity in Chromedics to build production of contraceptives. It will be the first time oral contraceptives will be manufactured in sub-Saharan Africa. It has never happened before. And it's great that this partnership with Bayer is taking place, Bayer being the leader in hormonal contraceptives in Europe. What is important in this initiative is the support of the government, of the presidential approach. It has a very comprehensive way of doing things. You know, to stimulate production in Nigeria, you need to have a market. Nigeria is a large place, but you need to have people who are ready to buy the drugs. You have the need to have the most adequate quality for these products. And the presidential plan has been improving the Nigerian Food and Drug Administration in a major way. You need to have appropriate partnerships. This is happening, and the partnership with the European Union is definitely one of the successes. You need to have financial incentives like lower duties, custom duties, to bring machines, to bring active ingredients, to manufacture products. All that is taken care of in the presidential initiative. And you also need to have well-trained people who are going to work in the plants, who are going to be at the top of the capacity so that you have the best products. This is also taken care of in the governmental plan. So, in a sense, we are surfing on this great approach that the government and the presidential initiative has been bringing forward. And this is allowing us to have this agreement with Bayer and to be able to produce contraceptives. Not only, we are going to have many more other products. Now, practically, the products are going to come from Bayer for a year or two while we are developing the production, having technical transfer, training the staff until we are able to produce everything here locally in Nigeria. And hopefully we should come to producing 15 to 20 million cycles of oral contraceptives every year for the Nigerian women and also hopefully for other populations in West Africa.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Broun, I mean, Nigerians look forward to when they can have quality, safe, and standard made in Nigeria products on their shelves when it comes to pharmaceuticals. Time is not our friend. Indeed. I have to thank you both, Dr. Obi Adigwe, Director General of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, as well as Dr. Dennis Broun, Vice Chairman, Co-Medics Advisory Board. Thank you.
All right.